Hi! Welcome to video number 4 of our discussion on the XYZ of human identity. Can't believe it's video number 4 already. So today we are going to talk about sexuality. So we begin with the dictionary meaning of the word sexuality. Sexuality is about your sexual feelings, thoughts, attractions, and behaviors towards other people. You can find other people physically, sexually, or emotionally attractive, and all those things are part of your sexuality. Some keywords to guide us on our discussion are sexual feelings, emotions, attraction, mono, and omni. On video number 1, we've assigned the variable z to represent sexuality. So let's talk about the sub variables now of z. Z sub 1 is heterosexuality. Z sub 2 is homosexuality. Z sub 3 is bisexuality. And Z sub 4 is asexuality. Now, there are several more types of sexuality that you will find online, but these are the major sexualities that we will consider when we move to video number 5. So we won't be able to cover all the types of sexuality, right? Because there's really a lot of them. But I've chosen 14 of them, and they're listed on both sides of the screen. We will also not define all 14 of them. I've only selected a few to define for you, and I guess the rest you can Google them later. So let's start with demisexual. Demisexual people are the ones who prefer to build emotional or romantic relationships first before they start developing sexual attraction or feelings towards someone else. Then we have androsexual and gynesexual. What's the difference? Androsexual is when someone is attracted to masculinity regardless of the other person's sex at birth, so long as their gender expression is masculine. On the other hand, gynesexual is when someone is attracted to a person that displays femininity. Again, regardless of their sex at birth. Next is autosexual. Autosexual is when someone is attracted to oneself. There's another term that we know for that, right? These are the narcissistic people. But I guess for somebody to be sexually attracted to oneself, that's a different thing, right? So that's autosexual. Let's take these 3 types: monosexual, spectrasexual, and omnisexual, and differentiate them, right? Monosexual is when one is attracted to one type of gender or orientation. So that means when somebody decides to get attracted to men only, then they will get attracted to men only. And then spectrasexual is when someone is attracted to some types of genders and orientation, but not all of them. When somebody is attracted to all of the genders and orientations, that's what you call the omnisexual. I think that's when people say more choices, more fun, right? Lastly is sapiosexual. I think this is one of the types of attraction that we often hear, right? Because people like to brag about, being attracted to one's intellect or intelligence. Therefore, when you find somebody smart, you kind of develop sexual feelings or emotions for them. Now we cover some of the social issues relevant to sexuality. The first issue is some of us are wondering and even asking, is bisexuality an experimental phase towards homosexuality? My simple answer to that is no, it is not. The exploration stage towards bisexuality is called bi-curiosity. So it won't lead to homosexuality. Therefore, bisexuality is not a stage in between homosexuality and heterosexuality. Bisexuality is one type of sexuality on its own. Furthermore, I believe that those who truly identify themselves as bisexuals have 100% commitment to falling in love with either a man or a woman. There's no more confusion, like by curiosity, right? The second social issue that we want to address is homosexuality reversible? And this is my personal opinion, right? The heart wants what it wants. It is arduous to modify emotions. You can try going through an experimental stage to experience any of the other sexualities, but most of the time, I believe one would always go back to what his heart's desire. My advice is just to keep it real and be happy with your choice. And lastly, I want to talk about parental support because I think this is essential. Emotional support system is highly important during the early stages of sexual exploration. That's why these conversations should start within the boundaries or walls of our loving homes. However, parents need to be well informed and updated first on the evolving concepts of sexuality so that they can effectively impart the new knowledge along with their wisdom. It is also important that parents keep an open mind, be more pragmatic than dogmatic, so that we avoid passing on to the next generation the judgmental stereotypes that we still have up to now. To be pragmatic is to be practical and to be realistic, while to be dogmatic is to follow a set of rules and be close-minded. That's what we call being by the book. Remember that human beings are not robots that we can pre-program and then expect them to follow everything that we say, right? We have free will, we get to decide, and then we get to make our own choices. What is important, especially for the young ones, is that they're guided by their parents towards good manners and right conduct. Putting labels on sexuality could be something interesting, but let's not forget the most important thing. We are dealing with humans with real and sometimes fragile emotions. Let us always be sensitive, compassionate, sympathetic, and most of all, kind to one another. On the fifth and final video, we will put together X, Y, and Z to formulate what I conceptualized as Human Identity Code, or HIC. Until next time, bye!